Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren and I am back with another video. So we are in week six. I think we're in week 6 of quarantine. Every day is blending together. Today is yesterday and tomorrow will be today and all of that jazz. But yes, I think we're in week 6. So I've been trying to figure out different ways to stay creative and do new things at home with things I already have. And so I recently came across a set of medium format negatives that I had gotten back in like January. And so I thought, what better way to quell this dry spell in my creativity than to burn them. Yay! This is not new. I mean, this isn't my idea. I've seen this before. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it might be fun to just kind of burn them and paint on them and scratch them and see what I could come up with and see how I could make them look different and repurpose them a little bit. And so that is what we're gonna do today. So I hope you guys enjoy and let's get on with the video. Alright everyone, so let's get into this. This idea was loosely inspired by me finally watching Little Fires Everywhere. If you haven't watched it yet, would recommend. Reese Witherspoon screams really loud. I didn't know her voice could sound like that, so if you want to see something like that, pretty interesting. So the first thing that I did was, also I forgot to put these scissors in my little compilation of items you're gonna need, but just pretend I did. First thing I did was I started to cut apart my negatives so that they were a little easier to deal with. There was no method to how I chose who was going with who, just kind of went for it. Okay, anyways, basically I scotch taped down my negatives for obvious reasons. I didn't want them slipping and sliding everywhere. And, okay, here's some more sped up footage. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk in between these segments, but... Oh, anecdote, I sat on this negative and that's why she is looking a little worse for wear these days. Hello, it's me. Alright, so let's get started. I started with etching. I grabbed an X-Acto knife and I basically just started scratching into the images. And I didn't really have a plan going in, I was just winging it and doing squiggles and lines and circles. Just because these are shapes that I normally make when I'm drawing anyways, and so I thought I would incorporate them into the situation over here. I had to go over some areas a few times because I wanted it to be more visible, but I also learned that you can't push too hard, otherwise you'll cut the negative, which as I'm saying it out loud is common sense. Okay, here we go, another angle. I would apologize for my nails, but this is quarantine, so there are no rules. Except for to stay inside and protect those around you. I don't know why anyone is going to the beach these days. Newport, Huntington, I'm looking at you. Okay, anyways, back to etching and scratching. This was the final look. And the next step we went on to was painting. So, my objective with this step was to frame and accentuate the etching more than anything else. And so I grabbed some paint from my cabinets and I got some small paintbrushes and I went to town. If I could do it again, I would probably add more green than pink because when I inverted the images later in Photoshop, which I will show you guys later on in this video, they become each other, if that makes sense, and I like the pink better. drew a heart here because my friends are in love and it's gross. I'm kidding. It's very sweet. I hope Brooke and Nima, I hope you guys are watching this. You just gotta shout out, okay? Okay, so here I go in with the green. And yes, now we've come to the segment that I was feeling kind of shy about admitting I was excited for. It is burn time! I grabbed a lighter from my kitchen and then my nice, kind, sweet mom came and held the camera for me. I wanted to focus the flame close enough to the negative to create some interesting flares and burns through the sheet, but I also didn't want them to warp too much, which is what tends to happen when you bring fire to a negative. I noticed that holding the flame vertically along the image helps to regulate some of the warp, but overall, you're kind of at the mercy of the flame, if you know what I mean. That's the worst thing I've said, this whole voiceover. Okay, so now we have gotten to the last step in me destroying my negatives, which is to add hot glue. So I added hot glue to any areas that were looking kind of bare on the negative. I wanted to layer it also on top of some of the etching just to see if it would produce a different texture. Clear glue scans really interestingly, and so I was pretty generous with the amount that I put on the negatives, and I was also cognizant of keeping the little annoying strings that hot glue typically leaves behind, just because I wanted to see how that would play into the photo too. And now I'm going to show you guys how I scan my negatives, or kind of scan my negatives, using my iPad. So if you don't have a nice scanner like me, you can pull up a white background on your iPad or any device that you have and use this as a backlight for your negatives. And then once your negatives are secured to your device, you are going to photograph it up close using your DSLR, and then you're going to bring the images into your computer. Alright, so we're now on Photoshop and we're going to unlock this layer and press Command I so that we can go ahead and invert this photo. So now as you can see, it went from being a negative to kind of looking like a scanned image, and so that iPad white background kind of helps achieve that obviously. And so now we're just going to go into adjustments on Photoshop and we are going to start tweaking everything so that we can make it look a little bit more normal. To my eye at least. And so here we are in brightness and contrast, and then we went into color balance. I was trying to take out some of the blue because obviously the image inverted pretty blue, and then I'm going into curves to try to get some of that black of the border back a little bit because everything was looking a little faded. So yeah, this segment is kind of just about messing around with the different adjustments and trying to land on something that looked like a normal scanned, that was a mistake, like a normal scanned image, and get the coloring a little bit more right. Cool, so now that we have the coloring, I took the magic wand tool and also the lasso tool, and I started to remove the background so that I could just get the negative scan to be its own thing, if that makes sense. So I just removed this background. Then I made the negative a little bit bigger, and I forgot to film this part, but I added a black background behind the layer with the negative so that it would pop a little bit more. So here I am importing the image into Lightroom so that we can play with the color a little bit more. I felt like it was still too blue, and so I was like, alright, let's warm it up. So this is just some more footage of me messing around with the color as per usual, so enjoy.
Play it once then, for all time's sake.
I don't know what you mean, Miss Elsa.
Play it, Sam.
I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
So after a ton of tweaking and figuring out what I wanted the photos to look like, I landed on this, and I essentially just repeated the process that I took you guys through for the rest of the images, and this is how they turned out. So overall, this was, in my opinion, a huge success. I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out, and more than anything, it was really fun to just make something with my hands and not be sitting in front of a computer, although that's what I just did for like 8 hours editing this. But regardless, this is my encouragement for all of you guys to make something with your hands, and if you're experiencing a creative dry spell, I am with you and we are gonna get through it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did, and let me know what else you would like to see in the future. I will catch you guys at my next upload and talk to you soon. Okay, bye!